Welcome to Channel 977's This Week at the Lake. We're broadcasting from the High and Muriel Badler studio located in the clubhouse, and I'm your host, Ron Krause. Well, Habitat for Humanity is an organization international in scope and very personal in its accomplishments. And those accomplishments have been growing here in Fluvanna County for about 20 years, and momentum, if you'll pardon the expression, is building. So building's what we're going to be talking about today as we welcome the president of Fluvanna's Habitat for Humanity, Mike Himes, and the organization's executive director, Jenny Whitehead. Thank you. Nice to have both of you with us.
Great pleasure to be here.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. Mike Himes, why don't we start with you as El Presidente. Give us a brief overview, if you would, of the scope and the purpose, the mission of Habitat.
We started in 1993. A group of do-gooders got together and decided that there was a huge need for affordable housing in Fluvanna County. And using the national model from Habitat for Humanity International, they put together our local chapter. Every county operates separately, and so they did their thing here, basically building about one house a year, fundraising with every event they could dream of to raise the money to do that. And up until I got involved with the organization about 8 years ago, that was kind of their platform they were building from, was about one house a year. Whether coincidental or not, whenever I got involved was when the economic meltdown took place, and it drastically changed the game that they were playing. That there's a tremendous amount of organizations fundraising along with us, and so the pie is being cut into a lot more pieces, and we realized that we were not going to be able to continue raising enough money each year to build a house, so we had to find an alternative. And so we came across the USDA 502 Rural Mortgage Program, which provides mortgage in rural areas.
This is U.S. Department of Agriculture?
Yes. This is something that a lot of habitats over the country have been taking advantage of, especially the ones in rural areas that meet their criteria. We have been working for the last 3 years to restructure our organization to take advantage of this program. They have different requirements than we had before, but the basics of it are that we build the house, and whenever we put a family in and they close on the house, that we get the money back, so we can roll that into another project. So we have kind of changed the endless fundraising to be more specific. And with having the funds available to build a house from the past house, the sky's the limit for our organization. And so we see the opportunity to make a much larger impact in dealing with the affordable housing crisis in our county.
Now, in terms of structure, you basically are, or have been, let's say historically until very recently, you have been all volunteers, is that correct?
That is correct. Started out as a volunteer organization, and up until about 1.5 years ago, we were all volunteer. This is my 6th term as president, and my plate became so overloaded that we reached a point that realized that we needed to get some help. And out of opportunity presented itself in the form of a capacity building grant from Habitat International, which was set up to hire an executive director to help with the day-to-day operations and to help us to grow. And we were looking to do that, so it was a really good fit for us.
So, but until this time, well, maybe even still now, the selection of candidates for the affordable home that you're going to build, I mean, that's just done by volunteers, regular citizens, volunteers, the organization, and sort of all the other functions that are necessary to go along with it.
All of our board of directors and all of our committees are volunteers, yes.
Where does the money come from now, or has it again historically, is somewhat things changing now just as a result of this new program, but where's the money come from to purchase land and to build these homes over the last 20 years?
A part of a program we used with VHDA was we could leverage our mortgages in the past for money to purchase land to build on, or building lots. And that was typically what we were taking the house before, and we would take a small mortgage to purchase a lot to build on. As far as the money to build the houses, we have a number of sources. Individuals are the largest source of money that we have. Church is right behind that. So it's a community-wide support for our effort as far as the money goes.
All right. So when you got to the point here that you were able to leverage this, basically this grant, and say, now we can, heaven's sakes, we can afford to put on basically an executive director That was how long ago?
A year and a half ago.
Year and a half.
Yes.
Okay. And so that brings on board as Jenny Whitehead. And now, you came on as executive director, but you're not new to Habitat, I gather.
It brought me on board as paid staff, but I had been a volunteer for many years before.
What have you been doing?
I had been either co-chair or chair of the Family Selection Committee for about 12 years before I came on in October of 2012 as the executive director.
How many involved in the selection process, and what does it entail? What do you do?
Well, it's varied over the years. It's always a complete volunteer committee. We usually have between 7 and 8 on the committee. In the past, when somebody would put in an application, we would review the application, make sure that their income fit within our guidelines, and then we would do an interview and we would do a home visit to make sure that they were living in substandard housing, and we would start building a house. They would become our partner family. We would start building a house for them, and at the end, you know, we would take the mortgage and we would hand over the keys. But we've actually changed that quite drastically over the past couple years.
How did folks really hear about this program was available for affordable housing, and are they referred to you? And,
a lot
how
of
many,
it, yeah.
How many, like each year, how many applicants did you have to select from?
It was really interesting. Before we went to the USDA program and we were targeting a more specific criteria, we would get probably anywhere between 30 and 40 applications in during our application period. Unfortunately, a lot of those applications, about 90% right off the top, we had to reject because they didn't have enough income. Habitat's a hand up, not a hand out. So everybody has to meet a basic income criteria.
What is that income level?
You need to make between 30 and 60% of the average median income in Fluvanna County, and that translates to a family of 4 needs to make between $28,000 and about $45,000 a year. They need to be able to pay their mortgage and still have money left over for the essentials of life.
And all these folks living here in Fluvanna before applying for the house?
Yes,
or?
that is one of our criteria.
Okay,
You need to either live or work in Fluvanna County.
Okay.
So yes.
Alrighty. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you start out. You have the pool of people. You winnow it down. You have their agreement. And their assurance that you can see from obviously their pay records and the like. They can afford the mortgage. Do they have to do anything else?
Well, yeah, when we changed to be able to take advantage of the USDA program, we changed how we were doing it quite significantly. What we do now is we do an application process once a year, just like what we used to do. We now make it very clear they have to come to an orientation session where they are told what the criteria is that they need to fit, the income criteria. Then they will send in their application, we'll go through it, and then once they're accepted, they're not accepted immediately as a partner family. They're accepted into a pool of applicants. And then that pool of applicants must go through a 9-week financial counseling course. We use Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. And it's a wonderful process because the people that aren't actually serious about putting the work into becoming a homeowner are kind of naturally weeded out. And we are left with the people who want to put in the work, want to put in the sweat equity, want to put in the hours to really become a homeowner and a partner family with Habitat.
Interesting. I guess maybe we should explain. Dave Ramsey is, well, he's syndicated on the radio, has a radio program as a financial consultant, and I don't know how he bills himself, but he certainly is very solid financial credentials, and that apparently has developed this whole educational curriculum, which is
millions of people have gone through it worldwide, and he teaches on a Christian basis as well. And a lot of his talk is, you know, as you get wealthy, is giving it back to, it's a really great program that our families can go through since we are a Christian-based ministry as well.
We have heard in the past and seen in the publicity of when the homes are built and about Habitat's procedure that the applicants, those who were going to actually move into the home, had to devote X number of hours as sweat equity, in fact, helping to build their own home in one way or another. Is that still true?
Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
How many hours do they have to devote to it?
150 per adult. 50 of those hours can be donated by friends or family that come out to the site and help work with them. That doesn't just mean construction, though. It can be these financial courses count towards their sweat equity, any other fundraising that they help us with, or any other community service that they do outside of Habitat, like with their church, counts towards sweat equity as well.
What's been the experience you've had over the years with people once they've been in their homes in terms of keeping up their mortgage, keeping up the maintenance, the look of the house, the whole business?
That's a good question, because we are in the process right now of supplementing the educational part of our sweat equity requirement. That we're realizing that most of the people that we have put into homes in the past did not have the tools to be homeowners. They didn't know how to take care of their house. They didn't understand paying a mortgage. And so we are in the process of requiring a lot larger percentage of our sweat equity hours towards education. And we're just in the beginning phase of that, but we have a number of areas that we are hoping to incorporate into the sweat equity program to prepare our homeowners for homeownership.
That certainly sounds, because what's been the retention, if you will, of people who have gone into their homes? Has there been a big turnover? Has there been a default of mortgages?
We've had one foreclosure.
One?
Yes.
Out of 16 homes. So.
Oh, good heavens, that probably far beats the national
It
average.
does, yeah,
I would
actually it does,
imagine,
yes.
Especially in recent years, unfortunately.
But we considered that a failure because we put people into houses, not take them out. And so we took that as the inspiration to move where we have. And that's what started the whole process.
Yeah, all right. If you've just joined us, we are talking about Habitat for Humanity here in Fluvanna County and the home building program with the organization's president, Mike Himes, and executive director, Jenny Whitehead. Once the families are in the homes, and how large are the homes? You say you talked about accommodating family of 4. Are they 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom? Is there any choice in that from the people, or you're just going to, in the past anyway, you're building a certain kind of home, and by gosh, that's going to accommodate a family of...
Well, we have, in the past, we've had a number of different floor plans that were used to build, and whenever I took over the construction, I really wasn't pleased with the effective use of the square footage, so I came up with a plan that I borrowed from one of the Chicago Habitats and tweaked it, and it's a 3-bedroom, bath and a half, 1,100 square foot ranch. And it is a very nice layout that can accommodate a family of up to 4 or 5 people with the way it's laid out.
Very nice. The homes you've built so far, where are they located?
When we originally started, we bought the least expensive lots we could find, and so we were doing single-site construction all over the county. When I first got involved with it, we had a piece of property that was a little bit large for a single house, and they asked if there was something else we could do with it. This was my first board meeting, and so they kind of threw it back at me and realized that there may be some potential there to do a development. As a real estate developer, I saw that potential, and so we took the piece of land, which was about 12 acres, and created our first community called High Mountain Acres on Mountain Hill Road. There were 5 lots in the subdivision, and realized that by putting our Habitat families together, that we were creating a support community for them, that they helped with babysitting and running errands and that sort of thing. And so it kind of evolved into the community aspect.
Interesting, not just plunked down
Right.
there on some isolated lot somewhere. Yeah.
We are currently building in our Cedar Ridge subdivision, which is on Route 15, just north of Palmyra, across from the fire station, and it's also a 5-lot subdivision that we've completed 2 homes there, and we will be starting another one there shortly.
And how have these homes been built? You're ready to, you say you have the lot, you have the people, you're ready to go. You put out a call, hey folks out there in the community, come out on Saturday and Sunday and help us build a house. You know, how does all that work?
Well, that's kind of the way we did it to begin with, and the unfortunate part of that was that we'd have some days where we didn't get anybody show up, and so we've kind of changed that. Now we have a schedule, a construction schedule for each of our builds. That we found that the ideal crew is between 12 and 15 people, and so we try to schedule 12 or 15 people for each of our work days. And we've cut our construction program from about 9 months for a house down to 2 months.
Wow.
So it's a lot more effective use of our volunteers' time.
Yeah. Well, obviously, some of this does take people with licenses, not to mention particular skills that have to be exerted to build a house, and you get into the roofing and plumbing and electricity and all that sort of thing, of course. But for other average folks, I gather that they must come in and maybe just help to do with some basic landscaping or painting or whatever.
Absolutely not. We have people that have never picked up a hammer, and they're framing right alongside of all the people that have been there forever. That's a part of our program, that we teach them how to do what we're doing, and it's amazing what can be accomplished working as a team by the end of each day.
We have very few subcontractors come in. The vast majority of it is done by our volunteers.
Really?
Yes.
We have the mechanical trades and some like the drywall finishing, which you need professionals to do, that we do subcontract out, but everything else is all volunteers.
Wow, that's terrific. And are they stick built? Is there any prefab building, which they've got some fancy name for now? I know. I mean, part of it used to be modular home, or now pre-construct, whatever.
No, we found that the most cost-effective way to build a house is with stick framing. That our volunteers provide the labor, so why should we pay a business to do the labor part of the modular construction? We entered into a program called Earthcraft a number of years ago, and it actually was a turnabout from the house that we had to foreclose on. That we realized that the quality of the energy efficiency of the homes was lacking. We didn't really have a plan of how to make the houses better. And so the Earthcraft certification program gave us a plan of how we could make the houses much more energy efficient. And the other side of that is it's an environmentally responsible building technique, that we recycle 100% of our waste, for instance.
Wow. Yeah, you see that designation, I know, over the years, just in real estate ads and parade of homes and things of that nature in the region. They will try to mention which homes are Earthcraft certified and all. How about meeting American with Disabilities Act provisions or anything along that line, levers instead of round doorknobs, or width of doorways into kitchens, bathrooms, et cetera?
Well, I would say we have kind of a combination of that. We aren't 100% ADA certified. With the size house that we're dealing with, there are some areas that are kind of difficult. If we have special needs from a partner family, we will address that during construction. But that's something that we're looking towards in the future, is to make a universally designed home that we can put together for that type of, as people age in their home and have handicaps that they have to deal with.
Yeah, yeah. And people have been staying long periods of time, or they, you know, obviously there's always folks get a house and maybe then they have 4 more children or whatever, and so you outgrow it, or you know, you want to move on. What's been your experience?
Our first house was completed closed in January of 1996. And they actually just paid us off. We had our first homeowner pay us off, which was fantastic. And we have not had anybody else move out of their Habitat home. It is all still original owners.
Hey, well, that's grand. That's a very nice, stable community base.
Yes, absolutely.
We've had one family that they merged families and needed a larger home, so they put an addition on their house. And they're still there.
Right.
Right.
Oh, really? And now, can they do that by themselves without any other big whoop-de-doo approvals from you folks or any?
The financing required them to pay us off, and so they did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they could get a financing approved for it.
That's nice. Do any of the home builders become in any way mentors? Are you able to use them just by virtue of their experience for others who are thinking about getting into the program and? In any way?
We really haven't in the past. With this new USDA program, though, and the financial classes they have to go to, they actually get to know each other during the classes and kind of get to know their neighbors before they ever move into their home. And we have identified, at least this first homeowner that we have put into our house, because she understands the Habitat process so well, and it took her so long and so much hard work to get through it, that she told me that it has become her mission in life. To get a lot of the African American churches within Fluvanna County involved with Habitat, and in fact she's doing a presentation to them this coming Sunday, which is just so refreshing to see, because a lot of times we lose touch with families once they move in. Once they have their mortgage, you know, we legally can't go back to them. for anything. But if we can develop these partnerships now, I think they can help us down the road and definitely start mentoring families.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that sounds like that could be extremely useful. Nothing like the person who has been there.
Exactly.
The good old testimonial, if you
Yes.
will. Well, now, Mike, you mentioned before that there were, all kinds of, we know of any nonprofit, and it's tough, and there's that range and list of fundraisers, everything from the bake sale and the auction to the golf tournament. You guys have very successful golf tournament. You're still doing the golf tournament?
Yes, we are.
You're still doing the golf
It is
tournament?
kind of evolving here again with the economy is changing,
Yeah.
and it is changing along with it.
Yeah.
We used to have a lot of very small fundraising events, and the results were according, and we've realized that it's a much better use of our volunteers' time to do larger
And
events,
they're all-
only do a few
yeah.
of them.
They're all labor intensive.
Very labor
so many of
intensive.
these events, for all organizations,
Yes.
they're very labor intensive for, as you say, relatively small proceeds. And
Right.
while obviously every dollar is useful, you run the risk of kind of burning out your volunteers,
Exactly.
if you will, how much. So you're kind of centralizing, and you've got this program this year called Women Build.
Yes.
That's why Jenny Whitehead is.
Yes.
You're at the helm of this thing, I gather.
I am.
Okay.
Yes, this is the first time we have ever done it in Fluvanna County. It is a actually a global program through Habitat International. Within the United States, every year they have a National Women Build Week, and this year it is from May 3rd to the 11th. And it is not excluding men. It is a way to empower women to pick up a hammer and come build for people in the community. We are using this year as our biggest fundraiser. We are trying to get corporate sponsors to come out and have a team building day, and it has been an overwhelming
The support from the
response
community has
from
been
the-
better than we figured.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Really?
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just in the past week and a half, we've had, the word is starting to get out, and people are starting to know what's going on, and we've had a lot of phone calls in the past couple weeks of sponsors wanting to come sponsor it for us.
Oh, all right. You had, I think you had a slide in there of the sponsors who have
We do.
come on so far. I guess we've got one of the houses that you have built there. Number 11.
Yeah.
Another.
That would be the first one in our High Mountain Acres subdivision.
Oh, okay. All right. Very neat. Oh, I see. All right. We have there obviously the ribbon cutting,
The house dedication.
dedication of the home.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
the highlight of our process,
It
is our
is.
Yeah, that's
dedications.
very,
Those are great days.
very nice. I would imagine a lot of proud families. I would
Yes.
think taking part in that, and
Family and friends, yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
and a lot of proud volunteers who
Very
can
much
see
so.
the results of their efforts, which is very neat. Cedar Ridge is
Our current
that's
subdivision where we're building in now.
Okay,
Right?
all right. And how large are the lots?
Well, it is one of the cluster subdivisions, so 75% of the land is in one lot, and then there's smaller lots, so they average about 3/4 of an acre.
All right, that's not a bad size at all. Certainly larger than I think the majority of the lots here in Lake Monticello. So that's okay. All right. Well, we'll get along to the sponsors when they kind of get. There's another of the 16.
And that's
with
our
obviously
latest house that was dedicated
snow
just
on
in
the
January.
snow on the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know that's recent. And so we've got your sponsors. I don't know quite how visible we can. You've got certainly Lowe's up there top.
Yeah, Z95 is the official radio station.
All right.
Dominion
good one to have.
Power.
Okay.
Anna Murphy, State Farm Insurance.
All right.
Red Rocker Candy, Southern Development Homes, Mako Incorporated, and Effort Baptist Church so far. But we have had, actually, as of today, Walmart Distribution Center as well.
Oh, very neat.
So, yes.
Very neat.
Yes.
They're very good supporters of several causes, certainly here in Fluvanna. The women's build program now is really, it's going to be all women building? No, you come on. No, some of your too. You know, come on, guys.
Well,
you got to lift those.
We
Yeah.
typically didn't have many women show up on our construction site when I took over construction 6 houses ago, and that was something that we realized we were missing. Something, and Jenny was one of our first volunteers that came out and worked with us on the second house that we did, and then we had a couple of more, and this past fall we did a faith build, and we had a very large number of women show up, probably a third of our workforce were women, and realized the potential that we were working with, and that's when we discovered the women's build and realized that we had a gem that we needed to polish, and that's what we're going to attempt to do with the women's build, is to give them the opportunity to find a different way to serve in the community.
Mm-hmm. When is this? Oh, when?
She's extremely excited about it, is planning on coming out and being out at the build site as often as she can be as well. Starts May 2nd, goes through mid-June, but there are Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Right now we have a lot of sponsors having reserved days already, so there's limited space still for individuals.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there definitely are still spots for individuals.
We've had a number of the companies that have sponsored they don't want to put together a team, and so they're providing scholarships for people that don't want to pay the $100 registration fee to help raise the money.
All right, so it is.
Right.
So
we can
it's
accommodate anybody that comes
absolutely.
along looking to
It's
help.
$100 to
It is.
register.
And
so.
that's how we're raising the money for this house. You know, that's how we're
Well,
our major fundraiser this year.
yeah. Well, computing some rough mathematics, and they're rough in my house. I'll tell you. You need a fair number of home builders to really, though, to make this probably into the kind of figure of fundraising that you'd like it to be.
Yeah.
So you're talking probably at least 100 people applying and participating.
And
right?
companies are,
companies,
there are different levels of sponsorship for different
All
things. So,
right.
you know, we do have
And you
some corporate
mentioned that,
sponsors.
well, it's team building. Are companies
Exactly.
using it for
They
that
are.
and that? They
They
send
are.
their crew and
Yep.
It takes
Absolutely.
roughly 200 volunteer days to build a house.
okay.
So we need 200 volunteers for the day.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that works out nicely. That's good. That's good fundraising. How about getting the school? You're going to mid-June. How about getting the schools involved?
We have actually been in talks with Gina Keller, the school superintendent, and she is extremely excited about partnering with Habitat, not just on this build, but in general. And we do have a sponsor that is going to be sponsoring 3 groups of teachers or staff or older students to come out. They are there are last 3 volunteer opportunity days, and we're calling it Teacher Week. So we're going to have schools out there for a solid 3 days.
Okay.
And so they will finish the house.
They will.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And that's terrific, and
Yep.
it's a wonderful publicity opportunity for you also, actually,
Absolutely.
and for them and for all those who participate. How about for those who? Well, here we have up there. I was going to ask you if for those who want to get in on the action or volunteer in some other way. I mean,
Absolutely.
you still. It's not just wielding a tool or something. You have other needs, do you?
There are.
We have a lot of administrative needs, and we're identifying those areas as we try to involve. And this is the reason why we have hired a part-time volunteer coordinator. We realize that we can be much more effective in utilizing the community to help us with our mission.
Oh, yeah.
That we have growth plans, and the only way we can achieve those is to mobilize an army of volunteers to help us do it. And that's our hope to do that.
Being in our larger office now, we just moved from a one-room office to a suite of offices at Crofton Plaza. That is giving us the opportunity as well when you do have volunteers that want to come in and work. They have their own workspace, which they didn't before. In fact, we're having some people come in next week to help us stuff some envelopes and cut things. It's small things like that, but
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's absolutely what we need the help with.
It's absolutely
Yeah.
important. It is. So those are basically the numbers. If they are, maybe you just want to recite the contact
They are.
number.
Our address is 105 Crofton Plaza, Suite 9. Kind of go around the back side, and we have an outside door. Our phone number is 589-3752. Our email is fluvannahabitat@live.com. The best place to find out about a lot of what we do in a little bit more detail is our website, and that's fluvannahabitat.org. We have a whole page on it dedicated to the Women Build. For people who are interested, they can find out all about it, look at the calendar, what days are still available, download a registration form and a waiver, and send it all in to us. So that's a great place to go for more resources.
Oh, terrific, terrific. Now, have we missed anything? Anything?
One huge thing that I would like to bring up, and that is that we are reaching build-out in our Cedar Ridge project, that we will finish our last house there in the next spring. And so we are looking to do a new project, and we have put a purchase offer on a 52-acre tract of land on Route 15 up just south of the Troy Deli. Our plans are to put a 20-lot community together. We are in a study phase right now to make sure that the land will accommodate our project, and if it does, we will be moving forward with getting approval. It typically takes about a year to do that through Fluvanna County, and if everything goes according to plan, hoping to break ground sometime next spring.
Wow, that is ambitious.
So we will have a 5 to 7 year supply of lots, which will be a great place for us to expand our operation.
My, oh my, and that just goes very great and very far beyond the one house every year or 18 months.
We're at 2 houses a year now, and we hope to be at between 3 and 4 houses a year in the next 2 years or so.
That's wonderful.
It is an unfortunate side effect of this economic meltdown that the affordable housing has become a crisis in our county. And so we realized building one house a year, we were really not accomplishing much. For one family, we were doing a tremendous service to them, but that there are a lot of people that are living in substandard housing. And so we decided we needed to ramp up our efforts to try to help a lot more people. And that's kind of where this all came from.
Yeah. You know, this is, I don't know, just maybe indulge me here a moment, and you folks at home indulge me a moment. Just the thought has occurred in the past, and may not certainly be Habitat's mission, but Mike, as you involved in what you do, you're a real estate developer, occurred to me when we had the school closings here in Fluvanna a couple of years ago, and they had to shut down the Cunningham School and another smaller grammar school. And you look at those buildings, and I've seen other buildings in other cities that have been converted to apartments, and you know, there is a need now, and of course, far beyond my knowledge to talk about what it takes economically to put them in, but they're good, solid, old buildings. There's no question of that. Is that anything? I don't know, just your expertise, your thought. I mean, whether for Habitat or
you.
Who knows what the future will hold? Who knows?
All right. Well, wait a minute. As long as the county's still got them, I mean, they have to spend some money on maintaining them at a certain minimal level during the year so that they do not deteriorate, obviously. So there are some, as we say, carrying costs, right? So, okay, well, anyway, we'll
That's a horse of a different color.
All right. I won't burden you with that anymore. Well, listen, we appreciate certainly you not only talking to us, but more than anything, your efforts and that of the organization, all the other volunteers, board members, everybody who puts their own time and talent into a very fulfilling of a very great need. And we certainly wish you very well, and thank you again for coming in and speaking to us.
Well, thank you for having us. And I would like to say that we wouldn't be here without the support that we get from our community, all the volunteers and the financial support. And we really are appreciative of everything that everyone does to help us.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have been talking with Mike Himes, the president of, didn't want to demote you, the president of Fluvanna County Habitat for Humanity, and with Jenny Whitehead, who is the executive director of Fluvanna's Habitat. We remind you again, the program can be seen several times in the coming week, specifically at 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. right here on good old channel 977. And so you might tell your friends and neighbors about it, something they conceivably might like to get involved in one way or another, or certainly just great information about what is happening and things that are available here in Fluvanna. Next Thursday, this week at the lake, we'll bring you the LMOA Board of Directors meeting live from the clubhouse, in which the board certifies candidates who are running for the board, as well as any member or board proposals to be put for a vote before the membership at the next annual meeting on June 28th. And that live telecast will be followed immediately by some special programming that is furnished by Fluco TV, the members of Fluvanna County High School's television production classroom. So we hope that you will tune in for that august event next Thursday, beginning next Thursday, and for the week after that. So until then, on behalf of the LMOA Broadcast Group, I'm Ron Krause. Thanks very much for watching, and good day.